just to double check. You like flavor, right? And you like eating healthier foods too, right? Oh, well, perfect. You're in the right spot, because this turkey, chorizo, and potato bake will have you leaving for work appreciating the breakfast you just ate. And not only that, you can have 6 breakfasts prepped in under an hour, and it's only 332 calories per serving. So let's jump in on how to make it. The first thing we're going to do is make our salsa so that we can get this in the fridge while everything else cooks. I have a 28-ounce can of whole tomatoes here, and what I don't have is probably enough room here, but we'll see what happens. We'll add in 1 jalapeno here, seeds and all, and then about 90 grams of chopped red onion. Now we'll give this a good... Okay, well, it turns out I was wrong and I cannot defy physics. So let me remove a few tomatoes here, and then we'll blend this up. Now once this is blended, I'm going to remove some of the salsa to make room for the other ingredients. We'll throw in a handful of cilantro, a squeeze of half or a whole lime, a good pinch of salt, about 1 to 2 teaspoons, and then 2 garlic cloves. Now we'll blend this all up again, and then once done, we'll pour this into our bowl with the rest of our salsa. Now we'll let this salsa have a little party in the fridge, and this will allow the flavors to enhance a little bit more and get to know each other. Alright, now we'll get on with our main dish, for which we'll start by bringing water to a boil and then prepping our potatoes. What I have here is 650 grams of Yukon gold potatoes. All I did was wash them and then simply dice them up into bite-sized pieces here. And you can take the skin off if you'd like. I didn't even bother because I'm lazy, but you do you on this one. It's whatever your preference is. It frankly doesn't really matter either way. We'll boil these for roughly 5 to 10 minutes or so, and then we'll come back and check on them. And after about 6 or 7 minutes, I'm going to give these a check. And what I'm looking for here is basically the ability to poke a fork through them, but for them to still have a good amount of firmness. We don't want to cook them through entirely, and we certainly don't want them to be mush. Mine are basically where I want them here, which you can kind of see. So I'm going to drain them and then set them off to the side. So the next thing we'll prep is our meat. I'm using 1 pound of 93.7 ground turkey. And just like we did for the breakfast burrito, I'm going to pour in a chorizo seasoning packet here, which you can find at your local store or online for sure. Use whatever Mexican style seasoning you want. It doesn't have to be chorizo. I mean, I like chorizo the best, but that's probably just a personal bias. But with our turkey now mixed up well, we'll put this in a cast iron skillet set over medium-high heat. But by the way, I'll just note, I grew up eating traditional pork chorizo and I loved it. I mean, I couldn't get enough of it. But honestly, once I found out how to make turkey chorizo, there's nothing I really miss about the pork version. Turkey chorizo really does it all for me. But anyways, we'll keep mixing the turkey up until it's cooked through, and you probably saw I used a potato masher to break up the meat, which I can't recommend enough as a tool here. It definitely gives you a good forearm workout, that's for sure, but it's easier than a twist and turn technique with a spatula. But when our turkey is cooked through, we'll remove it from the pan and then set this off to the side, and we can get on with our vegetables. We'll give the pan another good spray of oil, and then we're going to add back in our potatoes. I'm going to season mine with a good pinch of salt here, about 1 to 2 teaspoons. And then the same amount of black pepper as well. You can also add in other seasonings here like garlic powder or smoked paprika. Those would both be good seasoning additions as well. I was just being kind of lazy on my end. We'll let these cook and keep tossing them around until they develop some color on all sides. And just for context, I have my pan here set over medium to medium-high heat. I probably cooked mine for maybe 10 minutes or so. But once they're done, we'll remove them from a bowl and then set them by our turkey. We'll give our pan another spray of oil, and then I'm going to throw in 175 grams of sliced yellow onion, or diced, and then about 250 grams of diced poblano peppers before hitting both of these with a pinch of salt. And if you don't have a poblano, there's no need to worry. I mean, a green bell pepper or frankly, any bell pepper would be fine here. But we'll let these soften, develop some color, and hopefully pick up some of that fond off the bottom of the pan. And once our vegetables are mostly there in terms of softness, I'm going to toss in roughly 2 large cloves of minced garlic to the pan. Let that toast for a second as well. Once that's there, we'll give this all a good mix to make sure it's all well incorporated. Now you can basically turn your pan heat off if you want. We're going to add back in our potatoes, and then we'll add back in our turkey chorizo from earlier. And we'll give this all a good mix as well. And think about this step in advance. Don't be like me and try to use the smallest possible pan like I did earlier with the blender. Alright, so once all of this is mixed together, we'll push this off to the side, and now I bring in a Pyrex baking dish or whatever kind of baking dish you have. I'm going to spray it with oil to make sure nothing sticks, and then we'll pour back in our turkey potato mix here. We'll spread this out nicely and make sure it's even across the pan, and then we'll add in 600 grams of egg whites over the top here. We'll give this a nice seasoning of salt and pepper, and then lastly, but certainly not least, we're going to add 80 grams of shredded Monterrey Jack cheese over the top here. Now we'll throw this in an oven set at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes or so, just to make sure all the egg whites are cooked through and the cheese is nicely melted and caramelized over the top. Now we can get the drum roll going, and dude, I don't make many breakfasts and I hate mornings, but I can most certainly get up in the morning for this. I might even skip to work a few days with just how good this tasted. I mean, that melty caramelized cheese with a soft spicy chorizo filling was just straight up delicious. There's no other way to say it. So to serve, just simply cut out a little piece from your baking dish, and you can either reheat this by searing it in a non-stick skillet or by simply microwaving it on a plate. But then we'll take some of that salsa that we made earlier and layer some of that over the side as well to really enhance the flavor of this breakfast. And now here you've got a healthy yet tasty breakfast to start your day, and you've got 6 servings prepped in under an hour, so basically your whole week is taken care of. And just as a final taste test here to make sure it all came together as planned, and yeah, that shit was good. As usual, here's the macro and ingredient overview for the dish. I didn't include sauce in the macro composition, but if you simply add 3 tablespoons of salsa, that would maybe add another 15 calories. It's nothing overly material. So thanks for watching, and I hope the recipe is something that you try. I mean, it's certainly delicious, and I promise you won't be disappointed.